Hi guys, John, Inky Vapor here. Just going to do a quick vlog for covering the Vapefest weekend. Just a little bit of housekeeping beforehand. Just to let you know that I'm back on the webcam. I've redone and redone this video countless times over the last couple of days, and it's just been driving me insane. So I've just decided to just give up on the phone, which is what I was using for the last couple of videos, just purely because it's just gone. My phone's gone to shit basically, and it's just a pain in the ass. I've lost a bit of footage from the weekend, so there's not going to be as much video as I was hoping to be, and I'm going to be swiping other people's photographs as well. So thanks to those of you who allowed me to use your photos as well. So I'll pop them in as we go along as well. So that's that out of the way. We can start talking about what actually happened at the weekend. So on Friday, Angie and I went and picked up our brand new car. And what we did then was come home, get all our stuff, pack it in the car, have a spot of lunch, and then we shot off to Shrewsbury. We stayed, well, actually we didn't stay in Shrewsbury, we stayed at Telford at the Ramada Iron Bridge, and we stayed there with Dean and Vicky, the vaping biker, and Mrs. Biker. So we met up there, had a nice meal, some beers, drinks and stuff, and just had a chill out for the first evening, which was really good. Great to see them, and I got this rather cool Prezi, which is the zombie head mug, slopping tea everywhere. They also gave us a bigger version, which is a cookie jar, which has got a brain for a lid, which is very cool. So thanks again to them for that. On Saturday, it was boiling. It was just a really baking hot day. We arrived there, and pretty much straight away we bumped into Dino Knight, also known as G-Shy, the guy who did the panels on this lovely mod for me. We also bumped into Tio and his other half, Andrea, which was really cool. They're a really lovely couple, and they kind of sort of joined with us, and we as we sort of processed round the showground. We also at that time bumped into James Seawood. It's always great to see Everyday Vapor from Vape Talk UK, etc. So it was lovely to see him as well, and Richard Vaping Vic. He met up with us virtually as soon as we got there, so it was really cool. We all just grouped up and started our wander around all the different stalls. Now, one of the first stalls that we came to was George at Lancashire Steam Company. And he was there with his good lady wife, and they had their full selection of e-liquid there, which was really cool. And they gave me, let me just pop this down. They gave me the other two juices from the 1612 line, which is their 8020 80VG 20PG new line that they're doing. And I've now got the lemon puff and the Our Kid. The lemon puff is a lemon puff style biscuit that were very popular when I was a kid. It's kind of difficult to explain. Just spat then. Kind of difficult to explain what kind of a biscuit it is. If you've never seen one, then they're kind of difficult to sort of make people understand. It's like a puff biscuit. It's puffy, quite sort of crumbly biscuit with like a glaze on it, and then on the inside it's got like a very sweet lemon fondant. This juice tastes exactly like that. Not quite as overpoweringly sweet as the biscuits are, but yeah, the flavour is definitely there. And the other one is Our Kid, which is which is jelly tots, so like sugary fruit candy. It's basically like just putting a great big handful of those in your gob and having a good old chew. So yeah, that's a really lovely juice as well. And yeah, tried those at the event. Haven't actually started on my bottles of them yet, but I do know what they taste like, and they're lovely so far. The other thing that George gave me, and he also gave it to gave some to Jamie, my co-host, one of my co-hosts from Vapors Worldwide, and that's the One Shot Boggart's Breath, which is another fruity e-liquid that I like from Lancashire. So coming up at some point on Vapors Worldwide, we'll be doing another DIY show, and I'll be using this One Shot as my sort of base for my flavour. So look out for that. Okay, so we also obviously bumped into Jamie, and he came. He got a lift to the event from Zeppi and Antonio. Zeppi's a guy who I used to work with, and he's also a viewer of Vapors Worldwide. And Antonio is like his best mate. Lovely lads, and it was really good to see them again. Didn't get to spend as much time with them as I would have liked to. But everybody kind of wanders and does their own thing, and you end up spending less time with the people that you wanted to than you were expecting to. So yeah, it was cool to see them. As we were walking around, we also bumped into Mark Todd Vape Reviews. Always a pleasure to bump into him. We went into the Grumpy Juice tent, and I'd never tried any of their e-liquid before. I think I tried, actually thinking about it, I think I tried Grumpy Custard, but I'm not, as any of you might know, I'm not a huge fan of custard anyway, but I did try their apple pie and custard, and that was just amazing. I still can't quite work out how I didn't actually end up buying some. I kept meaning to go back and grab some, and I never did. So there's that. One of the biggest marquees there was the Yorkshire Vapor. I'm videoing this. Hello. Sorry. Cock. Now they had a massive marquee there, doing everything really well, as you'd expect from TYV. Dale and Lindsay were there, along with a whole load of other members of their team, welcoming everybody into their marquee, showing everybody products, showing them e-liquid, all that kind of stuff. It was a brilliant atmosphere in their marquee. And while I was there, Lindsay gave me a snapback, which is rather cool. And I did what I always do with baseball caps. I bent the peak, which upset Dale greatly because everybody wears them flat. I'm too stuck in my ways and way too old to wear a snapback with a flat peak. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid. So yeah, he threw his arm on the floor in disgust when he saw me do that. That was really cool because it was such a hot day. It meant that I could give the baseball cap that I was wearing to Angie, who hadn't brought a hat, and she's very pale and she was getting burnt to a crisp. So it was cool that I got another hat so she could wear my other one. So thanks, Lindsay and Dale, for that. While I was there as well, they gave me the complete at-home dough line, which I'm just grabbing now. Excuse me a moment while I keep reaching into the camera. And we'll just go through a few of the, well, all 5 of these. Now, I think they're 18-20. That's usually Dale's kind of VG-PG ratio. And they're at 2 milligrams. So they're sort of cloud blowers, e-liquids, these ones. So first off, I've got in my hand here is Rottle. This is a kind of melon, cantaloupe kind of very refreshing fruity e-liquid. The next one I've got in my hand is one of the ones that I do like quite a lot. This is a more sort of dessert based. It's a churro, which is like a Mexican dessert type thing. It's a bit like a cinnamon donut. If you've never had a churro, that's what this kind of tastes like. Amazing, really cool juice that. Then we have Crown, which, let's hold this so that you can actually see it rather than doing that. The Crown, which is orange with a bit more orange, and just for extra oranginess, a bit more orange. Really refreshing, really nice e-liquid, that one. And these 2 are my favourites. 6 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. 6 a.m. is like fruit pastels with a kind of quite a heavy, a bit more emphasis on the sort of raspberry notes of that. So that's really lovely, refreshing, fruity, and sort of gummy kind of vape, that one. And then the 8:30 p.m, which is again another mixed fruits, but has quite a sort of, for me, it has quite a grapefruity vibe going on. So it's got a little bit of sharpness to the sweet fruit, and yeah, that is really cool as well. All of them really clean juices, very nice, and bags of Vaper and stuff like that. So I wanted to just say thanks very much to Dale and Lindsay for giving me those juices to try. Thoroughly enjoyed vaping them, and I'm looking forward to carrying on doing so because they've just been really cool. Okay, so what do we do next? Right, okay, well, we bumped into Barry Miller, who's an artist, and he has just the most amazing beard, and myself, Dean, and Barry had a photo taken together. We also met up with John Norris, who is somebody who subscribes to my channel, subscribes to Dean's channel. I think he's a member of Safer Vapors as well. He's a really cool guy. We met him, I think the first time we met him was at Expo. He kind of hung around with us all day on the Saturday, I think it was. Yeah, the Saturday, maybe some of the Sunday, but we had a really cool time with him. Bumped into him again, and again he was kind of in with our group and just sort of wandering around with us. It was really cool to see him again and to have a look at all the stuff that he'd been buying and all that kind of stuff. It's always cool to look at other people's toys that they bought. So it was really good to see John again. Also bumped into Eddie May from Eden Mod. Sorry. Not Eden Mods. Darwin Mods. Eddie May from Darwin Mods and his other half Jill. They also had their dog with them. I can't remember the dog's name, but it was lovely. I think it was a spaniel. I'm not sure, but I think it was a spaniel, sort of brown and white, very short-haired spaniel. Really cool dog. And he was showing off in the Safer Vapors tent. He was showing off his Gecko mod, which is just a spectacular little hybrid wood mod using the Star Plat board. He's made custom buttons for it. It's just an absolute work of art. If you haven't seen one, have a look on Eden. I keep saying Eden. Have a look on Darwin Mods page, and you'll see the pieces of art that these mods are. Really cool. Tiny little device. Really amazing. Brilliant piece of work that. So while we were in the Safer Vapors tent, got to have a chat again with Damien and his lovely wife Nicola. It's always cool to see them. So that was good. While we were in there, we also caught up with Craig, John, and Rick from the Ideal Home Show, and Damon, the Grumpy Vapor, Damon Fairhurst. It was good to see him again and have a chat and all that kind of stuff. On our way round during the day on Saturday, I bumped into Golden Vapes, and I'd actually contacted them prior to Vapefest about a tip that they were selling, a chuff style tip for the Limitless RDTA, which is this one on here, which is like a red and black swirly affair, and it's all made out of acrylic, and they've actually built the airflow into it. It's just perfect fit, and it's just a really nice mouthfeel to it. So if you haven't tried Golden Vapes drip tips, certainly suggest that you give them a look up. They do custom work, and they pretty much make drip tips for anything you can think of. On the subject of drip tips, I also bought myself, one of the few things that I did buy for myself, I bought myself a custom drip tip for my Velocity V2 by Big Tips. Now, it's just made for the Velocity V2. It's exactly the right tolerances on the threading, so if you've got a clone, you're going to be out of luck with this particular drip tip, because it only fits on the Authentics, which is rather cool in my opinion. And I just absolutely love it. It's purples and greens and reds and blues and all sorts of weird shit going on, but I bought it because I thought, well, if it's got a mess of colours on it, I can pretty much match it up with anything that I'm vaping on. And in there I have got some of 830 PM from TYV, vaping up a lovely, just gorgeous flavour that. Let me just check. See, I'm working off of notes because I've got so much. I've done this so many times because of the camera issues that I've had. I wanted to make sure that I got everything down and it wasn't a complete shambles. So do forgive me if I keep looking over slightly. Where are we? Right, yeah. So on Saturday afternoon there was a raffle that went on. The usual Vapefest raffle, and I don't know what John from the Ideal Home Show was calling the raffle, and I don't know what was up with the PA system this year, but for some reason it was a complete fiasco, and we couldn't hear. So everybody who got tickets, myself included, had to crowd right up close to the marquee that the raffle was being called from, and it basically meant standing up for getting on for the best part of an hour in the blazing hot sunshine, and straining to hear as the numbers were called out, which wasn't great, to be honest. It's not the best way of spending your time, and because as a result of the fact that people couldn't hear what was going on, it meant that there was quite a bit of delay getting people to understand that they've actually got a winning ticket. So yeah, what you're going to do. It's one of those things, hopefully something that the organisers will learn from and hopefully improve for next year. And that pretty much kind of ties up what happened on Saturday, to be honest. There was obviously a lot going on. It was great to see people that I hadn't seen in a long time. I had a few people come up and say hello to me, and thank me for my videos and stuff, and for the stuff that I do on Vapors Worldwide, which was really, really nice. Unfortunately, none of them actually told me who they were, so that I can't really give them a shout out. But if you did come up and say hello to me, thank you very much. It's very humbling, and it's just really cool to meet people who enjoy what you're doing. So that was good. At the end of towards the end of the evening on the Saturday, we all basically, myself, Angie, Dean, and Vicky, and Vaping with Vic, Richard, went back to where Dino G Shire was camping. and he got this most amazing like teepee kind of construction for a tent. Huge, great big thing. Could have probably slept about 6 or 7 people in there. It's just him on his own in there, and he had power and he had all sorts going on. So he was kind of glamping, really. It was very cool. Anyway, we went back to his tent, and he had a picnic table set out, and he had camping chairs. He had a load of beer and cider, and there was rum. There was Diet Coke and Coca-Cola, crisps. And they even had burgers for a barbecue and stuff. So we all just sat down at the end of the day and just chilled out as the sun was going down, and it was just cooling off nicely. Sat and had a lovely drink and a chat, and just had a dick about like you do. And while we were doing that, now I'm probably going to say her name wrong, but I'm hoping I got it right. I did ask her how to pronounce it, and I've since kind of become unsure as to whether I've got it right still. But anyway, bumped into they kind of walked past, and we said hello to them, and then they went and got some chairs and came and sat with us anyway, which was really cool. And that was Rissa, Mark, and Mikey. Now Rissa is Oh My Goth off of Instagram, who is just a lovely person and just really cool. And I love her Instagram, so it was really cool for her to meet her. And they came over and started having a drink with us and a chat and a chin wag and all that kind of stuff, and that was really cool. And then it got to, I don't know, I guess about 10 o'clock-ish. We decided to get back to the hotel because it was getting a bit cold by then, and my wife, being disabled, doesn't do well in the cold, so we went back to the hotel. And it's probably a good thing, because by about 11 o'clock I was absolutely sparked out. I was just dead to the world, just so tired from walking around in the heat and everything all day, and obviously the addition of beer and stuff didn't help that. So then on Sunday, got up, had some more breakfast, shot over to the showground, and pretty much straight away got a message from my cousin Damien, who's been vaping for about just over a year now, and he was there, and we met up with him, and that was really cool. I haven't seen him for a very long time, so that was really good fun. And he kind of sort of just joined with us as we did our usual circuit of the event. While we were walking around, we actually bumped into Scott Bonner. I Get You 69. I didn't really say much because I was a little bit in awe, even though I've been in a couple of hangouts with Scott. Actually meeting somebody that you've kind of been watching on YouTube for a long time, and somebody you respect so much in the YouTubing kind of fraternity. I was a little bit starstruck, I think, and it was just really cool to meet him. Lovely fella, and I was quite gutted that I didn't actually ask to have my photograph taken with him, which I should have done, but hey. I thought we were going to bump into him again, and we never did. So that was that. While we were doing it, we just sort of just mooched about on Sunday. We didn't really sort of go mad or do a huge amount, but we were just sort of doing the rounds, chatting, sitting down, the usual stuff. My cousin Damien recommended a line of e-liquid to me by a company called El Diablo, and the one that I picked from their line that I bought was a 30ml bottle of this one, which is called Los Muertos, which is Spanish for the dead. Comes with a rather cool label. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got a candy skull with smoke coming out of the eyes, and it's just very cool looking design with a big ohm symbol in the top. It's kind of a mixed fruits and berries with a very sort of subtle menthol in the background. Not really usually my flavour profile. I'm not a huge fan of menthol, but I absolutely love this. And I've already sort of caned a good sort of third of that already. So that's been going down rather well. The other thing to say about Sunday was that it wasn't quite as hot, but it was it was still sunny. There was no rain or anything like that, but it was extremely windy, and there was a couple of tents, vendors' tents that sort of got blown away and stuff. And it was really cool to find out that people like TYV, the Yorkshire Vapor, actually helped out some of the smaller vendors whose tents had blown away, and they actually invited them into their big marquee and allowed them to sort of set up there so that they could carry on selling their stuff. And that just really sort of leads me into the whole point of Vapefest, as far as I'm concerned, and it's just such a cool vibe. There's a real sense of community when you're at Vapefest. It's unlike any of the other events that we have in the UK, and it's just a really chilled out day and a thoroughly enjoyable all round. Really, it's my favourite one of the year, and this year certainly didn't disappoint in fulfilling that. In fact, because this is the first one I've actually stayed over for, it made it all the better for me, because I actually managed to spend a bit more time with the people that I know and love, and it was really cool. I wanted to just apologise if I've missed anybody's names out. I really do apologise. I've tried to, with making notes and everything, I've tried to remember everybody that I kind of talked to and bumped into. If I have missed you off, there is somebody, just as I'm thinking. Tom wasn't there on the Saturday. Big Tom wasn't there on Saturday, but he had to come down Saturday night with some extra stock for the Yorkshire Vapor. So I actually got to have a good chinwag with Tom, which was really cool, because it's always good to see Big Tom. He's just a lovely fella, and love him to bits. So yeah, there you go. There's one that I've forgotten. Any others that I've forgotten, I really do appreciate seeing you and saying hello to you, but I'm sorry if I've forgotten to mention you, or I haven't said your name because you didn't give it to me. Other than that, I wanted to say a real thank you, real big thank you to Dean and Vicky, because they really did make the weekend a special one, especially because Ange is not really, she doesn't really go to these kind of events very often, and for her to have somebody as cool as Vicky to talk to, and Dean as well, obviously, and to make her feel so welcome, that was just really cool, and just, love you guys. It's really, really, really cool spending time with you. So before I get any more slushy, I'll say goodbye, and I'll have a vape. At the end of this, I'm going to put any of the video bits and photos that I haven't put in already. I'll just stick them on the end here, and we'll go from there. Coming up next week, or hopefully this weekend, I'll be getting some more reviews done, and I'm going to try and get a bit more content out to you on a more regular basis as well. So I'll see you soon. Take care.